Did you know there is a country in South America where English is the official language? The rainforest covers almost the entire territory, and a recent discovery could turn it into one of the richest nations on the continent? What once seemed like a remote and unknown destination is quickly becoming one of the most promising places in the world. Imagine a small country nestled between Venezuela, Brazil, and Suriname, long forgotten on the map, with a fragile economy and few resources. Suddenly, it's being called the New Dubai or the Qatar of South America. But what caused such an abrupt transformation? How did a nation with less than 1 million inhabitants go from being one of the poorest countries on the continent to one of the fastest-growing economies on the planet? That's what you'll discover starting now on World No Filters. Want to be part of a journey full of discoveries, fun, and surprising content? Subscribe to our channel by clicking here and never miss a video. The answer lies beneath the earth: oil. Since 2015, massive reserves have been discovered in Guyana's territorial waters, completely changing the country's destiny. And we're not talking about small quantities. It is estimated that Guyana's oil reserves are so vast that, in a few years, the country could produce more oil per capita than nations traditionally associated with oil wealth, such as Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. This has sparked an unexpected economic boom, prompting the government to adopt innovative policies, such as tax reductions and even proposals to distribute money directly to the population. But Guyana is not just about oil and economic growth. It is a country of unparalleled natural beauty, home to impressive biodiversity, with forests that harbor species still unknown to science, majestic rivers, and one of the most spectacular waterfalls in the world, Curiosities Falls, 5 times higher than Niagara Falls. This virtually untouched environment is also home to indigenous communities that have lived in isolation for centuries, preserving ancestral traditions and a way of life virtually unchanged since before the arrival of Europeans. Despite being a territory little explored by tourism, Guyana has a unique charm. Its culture is a true mosaic of influences. Colonized by the British, it became a hub for African, Indian, and indigenous immigration, resulting in a diverse society filled with unique traditions. Festivals such as Diwali light up the cities with vibrant colors, while typical dishes feature spices and techniques from various parts of the world. But will this rapid economic growth truly benefit the entire population or create even greater inequalities? How will a country so rich in biodiversity balance development with environmental preservation? These are questions that make Guyana one of the most intriguing countries of the moment, and we will explore every detail of this surprising nation. Get ready for a journey into the unknown, where we will unveil the secrets of this fascinating place and understand why the whole world is starting to look at Guyana with fresh eyes. Guyana is one of the last untouched natural refuges in the world, a green sanctuary where the rainforest covers more than 85% of the territory and shelters an impressive biodiversity. With a rich and little explored ecosystem, the region hides an array of animal and plant species, some of which have yet to be catalogued. The dense vegetation protects crystal-clear rivers, towering waterfalls, and vibrant wildlife, making Guyana a paradise for nature lovers. One of the country's most remarkable natural features is the magnificent Curiosities Falls, one of the most spectacular waterfalls on the planet. With a drop of more than 220 meters, it is about 5 times higher than the famous Niagara Falls. The volume of water crashing down creates a breathtaking visual and auditory spectacle. In addition to its stunning beauty, this waterfall plays a crucial role in the region's ecological balance, serving as a habitat for unique species, such as the golden frog, a small amphibian that lives within the bromeliads near the falls. Another fascinating element of Guyana's landscape is the tepuis, imposing rock formations that rise like natural fortresses above the forest. These flat-topped mountains are like islands in the sky, hosting their own ecosystems distinct from the rest of the forest. One of the most well-known is Mount Roraima, located at the triple border between Guyana, Brazil, and Venezuela. This geological formation inspired writer Arthur Conan Doyle to create the novel The Lost World, where he describes an isolated environment teeming with prehistoric creatures. The fauna's diversity is also impressive. Guyana is home to some of the most formidable predators in the Americas, including the jaguar, the largest feline on the continent, and the giant river otter, one of the rarest aquatic mammals in the world. Additionally, the country is home to the mysterious cock of the rock, a vibrant orange-feathered bird that inhabits the rocky areas of the forest. The rivers of Guyana are another fascinating natural treasure. The Essequibo River, one of the largest in South America, runs through much of the territory, providing an essential route for transportation and the lives of riverine communities. Its waters are home to a rich aquatic fauna, including the massive red-tailed catfish and the silver arowana, both highly valued in sustainable fishing. But Guyana is not only a land of stunning biodiversity, it is also home to indigenous communities that preserve ancestral traditions in harmony with nature. Peoples like the Warao and the Makushi have an in-depth knowledge of medicinal plants, hunting techniques, and sustainable ways of life in the forest. Their way of life and respect for the environment are valuable examples of balance between development and ecological preservation. With such a natural wealth, Guyana represents an ecological treasure of incalculable value. However, with the recent economic rise fueled by oil, the great challenge arises. How can this biodiversity be protected while the country moves toward progress? The answer to this question will determine the future of one of the world's most spectacular natural destinations. In recent years, Guyana has undergone an unprecedented transformation. In 2015, huge oil reserves were discovered off the country's coast, and since then, Guyana has been establishing itself as one of the world's new major oil producers. The estimated amount of oil in the offshore fields exceeds 11 billion barrels, a figure that places the country in a privileged position in the global energy landscape. The economic impact of this discovery has been enormous. Once dependent on traditional sectors like agriculture and mining, Guyana has seen its economy grow at impressive rates. In 2020, the country's GDP recorded an increase of nearly 43%, one of the highest in the world. This rapid growth has brought both challenges and opportunities. On the one hand, there have been massive investments in infrastructure, healthcare, and education. On the other hand, there is the risk of the so-called resource curse, a phenomenon where resource-rich countries face social inequality and economic instability due to excessive reliance on the oil sector. To avoid this scenario, the government has implemented policies to diversify the economy and ensure that the wealth generated by oil benefits the entire population. One of the measures taken was the creation of a sovereign wealth fund to manage the profits from oil and invest in strategic long-term sectors. Additionally, the country has been reducing taxes and implementing social programs to improve citizens' quality of life. However, Guyana's rapid rise to energy powerhouse status also raises environmental concerns. Oil exploration takes place in a region of great biodiversity, and a potential oil spill could have devastating consequences for local ecosystems. Environmental organizations and indigenous leaders have been pushing for greater oversight and sustainable policies to ensure that economic growth does not compromise the country's natural wealth. Looking to the future, Guyana faces a significant challenge: balancing economic development with environmental preservation and social justice. If managed well, the wealth from oil could be the key to a prosperous and sustainable future. But if mismanaged, it could lead to instability and environmental degradation. What happens in the coming years will determine the country's path and whether Guyana can become a model of sustainable growth or repeat the mistakes of other resource-rich nations. Guyana's culture is one of the most diverse in South America, reflecting its colonial history and the blending of peoples who settled there over the centuries. British colonization left behind English as the official language, a factor that sets Guyana apart from other South American countries. However, the cultural legacy goes far beyond the language. The Guyanese population is made up of a mosaic of ethnicities, including descendants of Africans, Indians, indigenous peoples, Chinese, and Europeans. This mix has created a rich and unique cultural identity, with influences ranging from cuisine to traditional festivals. One of the greatest examples of this diversity is the Diwali festival, the Festival of Lights, which is widely celebrated due to the significant presence of Indian descendants, whose ancestors were brought to the country by the British as indentured laborers in the 19th century. Moreover, the indigenous communities of Guyana, such as the Warao and Makuksi, preserve their ancestral traditions, maintaining a deep connection with nature. These peoples contribute significantly to the country's cultural identity, bringing with them knowledge about the flora, fauna, and sustainable practices that date back centuries of living in harmony with the environment. Guyanese cuisine also reflects this diversity. Dishes such as roti and curry are influenced by India, while pepper pot, a spiced meat stew, originates from indigenous traditions. The consumption of fresh fish, exotic spices, and natural ingredients makes Guyanese gastronomy an authentic reflection of the fusion of cultures. With this rich tapestry of influences, Guyana stands out as one of the most culturally intriguing countries in South America. Its ability to preserve traditions while embracing modernity is an example of resilience and adaptation, making the nation a true melting pot of cultures. Guyana is a land filled with mysteries and fascinating stories passed down through generations. Its dense forests, imposing rock formations, and isolated tribes have fueled legends and inspired writers over the centuries. For many, this region still holds undisclosed secrets, making it an intriguing destination for explorers and scholars of the unknown. One of the most famous stories linked to Guyana is the inspiration it provided to writer Arthur Conan Doyle. His novel The Lost World was directly influenced by Mount Roraima, one of the most impressive geological formations in South America. This flat-topped tepui, surrounded by vertical cliffs, hosts an isolated ecosystem where many species are endemic and have evolved separately from the rest of the world. In the novel, Doyle imagines a pristine place where dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures still roam, preserved by the isolation of time. Although this idea is fictional, the sense of mystery surrounding Mount Roraima continues to attract scientists and adventurers eager to explore its unique landscapes. In addition to literary influences, Guyana is rich in indigenous legends that speak of enigmatic beings and supernatural forces inhabiting its forests and rivers. Deep within the Amazonian jungle, the peoples of Guyana passed down the legend of the serpent and the rainbow. According to the tale, all birds were once gray and colorless. The celestial serpent Cain, gliding through the sky, granted the bird's wish for color. In a sublime gesture, Cain dissolved into a rainbow, dyeing the bird's feathers with vibrant hues. Ever since, it is believed that when a rainbow appears after the rain, Cain continues to watch over her creation, ensuring the jungle's beauty. Another intriguing aspect is the stories of tribes living in complete isolation. With vast stretches of unexplored forest, there are reports of indigenous groups who have never had contact with the outside world. Protected by the dense vegetation, these communities maintain ancestral customs and knowledge of medicinal plants and jungle survival. For anthropologists and biologists, Guyana represents one of the last places on the planet where there is a real possibility of discovering civilizations completely untouched by modernity. But the mysteries of Guyana are not limited to its land. The depths of its rivers also hold enigmatic tales. Many local communities tell of the existence of gigantic creatures hidden in the waterways, similar to legendary serpents that protect the balance of nature. These narratives, often passed down through generations, serve as a reminder of the respect one must have for the rivers and the fauna that inhabit them. The combination of peculiar geography, isolated tribes, and indigenous legends makes Guyana a destination of unexplored mysteries. Whether as a source of inspiration for writers or as the setting for supernatural tales, this small South American country continues to fascinate those who dare to venture into its unknown lands. With the rapid economic growth driven by oil exploration, Guyana has transitioned from a little-known country to one of South America's most promising destinations. However, this progress raises a fundamental question. How is this development impacting the security and quality of life of the population? Although Guyana is experiencing a period of financial prosperity, social and structural adaptation still faces significant challenges. Guyana has a mixed reputation when it comes to security. Although the country is not among the most violent in South America, there are clear challenges related to urban crime, corruption, and public security infrastructure. The capital, Georgetown, concentrates much of these concerns, especially in less developed areas, where crimes such as theft, robbery, and drug trafficking still occur. The accelerated economic growth has led to an increase in the circulation of money, which can attract organized criminal activities. Moreover, social inequality may become a risk factor, as not all the population benefits from the new wealth generated by oil. In some countries that experienced similar economic booms, such as Venezuela and Angola, increased wealth was accompanied by a rise in crime due to inequality and a lack of control over new financial flows. The government's response to these challenges has been mixed. In recent years, reforms have been implemented in the police and judicial system to improve the response to crime and reduce impunity. However, resource shortages and a lack of specialized training continue to hinder significant advancements in public security. Quality of life in Guyana is directly linked to access to basic services such as healthcare, transportation, and housing. Historically, the country's infrastructure has been neglected due to years of economic stagnation. However, with the injection of new resources from oil, the government has directed investments to modernize these essential sectors. One of the main challenges faced by the Guyanese population is the healthcare system. Although there are hospitals and healthcare centers, the availability of quality medical services remains limited. Many people travel to neighboring countries, such as Brazil and Trinidad and Tobago, in search of more advanced treatments. With increased government revenue, it is expected that new investments will be made in the construction of hospitals, training of healthcare professionals, and expansion of access to essential medications. Another critical aspect of quality of life is housing. The rapid economic growth has driven up property and rental prices, especially in Georgetown and areas near oil operations. For many low-income families, this scenario poses a risk of housing exclusion. In response, the government has been studying social housing programs to ensure that lower-income populations can also benefit from economic progress. Public transportation is also undergoing changes. Currently, most travel in the country is carried out by private minibuses and shared taxis, as formal public transportation remains limited. With new investments, there are plans to modernize the urban transportation system and improve connectivity between cities and more remote regions, which can facilitate access to employment and essential services. Although better known for its lush forests, Guyana also boasts a largely unexplored coastline filled with natural beauty. Its beaches along the Atlantic Ocean offer paradisiacal landscapes and serve as a refuge for various species of marine fauna. One of the most impressive destinations along Guyana's coast is Shell Beach, an extensive stretch of sand spanning approximately 140 kilometers. What makes this beach particularly special is its ecological significance. It is one of the main nesting sites for sea turtles, including endangered species such as the leatherback and green turtles. During the nesting season, which takes place from March to August, visitors can witness a unique natural spectacle as hundreds of turtles emerge from the waters to lay their eggs on the sand. In addition to Shell Beach, other coastal regions stand out for their biodiversity and serene landscapes. The mangroves along the coast play a crucial role in the country's ecological balance, serving as habitats for migratory birds and various species of fish and crustaceans. For ecotourism enthusiasts, boat tours along the rivers and canals that cross these areas offer an excellent opportunity to observe wildlife up close. The capital, Georgetown, located near the coast, is another point of interest for tourists seeking to explore Guyana. The city offers a blend of culture and history, with well-preserved colonial architecture and vibrant markets that reflect the country's cultural diversity. Highlights include St. George's Cathedral, one of the world's tallest wooden cathedrals, and Stabroek Market, where visitors can find everything from local crafts to exotic spices. Even without the tourist appeal of the larger Caribbean islands, Guyana holds growing potential for sustainable tourism. Its largely unexplored beaches, combined with a rich natural and cultural heritage, make the country an ideal destination for travelers seeking authentic experiences and a connection with nature. As tourism infrastructure develops, Guyana has everything to become a new point of interest for adventurers and biodiversity lovers. Guyana is at a crucial moment in its history. From a relatively unknown country, it is becoming one of the world's most intriguing destinations, not only due to its oil-driven economic growth but also because of its natural wealth and cultural diversity. The big question now is, what does the future hold for this nation? On one hand, economic development presents enormous opportunities. With the right investments in infrastructure, education, and healthcare, Guyana can significantly improve the standard of living for its population and ensure that natural wealth benefits everyone. On the other hand, there are huge challenges ahead. The risk of the oil curse, which has already impacted other resource-rich countries, is a real threat. If the economy becomes overly dependent on oil exploration, instability and social inequality may follow. Additionally, Guyana needs to balance growth with environmental preservation. With one of the world's greatest biodiversities, irresponsible resource exploitation could have devastating consequences. It is essential for the government to implement sustainability policies to protect its forests, rivers, and wildlife, ensuring this ecological treasure remains for future generations. The tourism sector holds immense potential. Guyana has everything it takes to become a world-class ecotourism destination, attracting travelers seeking authentic experiences and a connection with nature. Investments in this sector can diversify the economy and reduce dependence on oil, making the country more resilient to global economic crises. Guyana's future is being shaped now. The country has a promising path ahead, but the decisions made in the coming years will be crucial to its destiny. If it manages its resources responsibly and innovatively, It can become an example of sustainable development for the world. However, if it follows a path of uncontrolled exploitation and poor planning, it may face difficult challenges. What about you? Do you think Guyana's rapid growth will bring a prosperous future or difficult challenges to overcome? Share your opinion in the comments. We hope this journey through the mysteries of fascinating Guyana was as exciting for you as it was for us. Considering the effort it takes to produce these videos, we'd love it if you could leave us a like and a comment. It's the best way to support us in bringing top-quality content every week. If you enjoyed this video and haven't subscribed yet, don't waste any time and do it now, turning on the notification bell so you won't miss the fascinating videos we produce weekly. Like this one, which you can watch now to discover one of the most fascinating places on the planet. Don't miss this opportunity to uncover the wonders that Guyana and many other places have to offer.